Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, coming from our studios at the Lansing Regional International Airport. That's actually the Capital Regional International Airport. And we're going to stay in town right now, actually, because the headquarters for the Home Builders Association of Michigan is right here in Lansing, Michigan, and we're going to spend some time with their CEO, Bob Filka. Bob, welcome to the show, obviously.
Hey, Chris, good to be with you.
Tell everybody a little bit about what the association does.
We're really the largest construction-related trade association in the state. We have over 5,000 builders and contractors who do business in the residential construction sector. So we represent that group on a statewide basis. We have 18 local home builder association chapters across the state, and we work to advocate, obviously, for our members for housing affordability, housing attainability.
Yeah, which is the question of the day, right? I mean, how do we get affordable housing, and what exactly does affordable housing mean? So let's talk about 23, because we heard a lot of things out here in the marketplace. Not enough housing inventory, interest rates are too high to make it feasible to do any spec building, that sort of thing. To run through 23 for us and tell us about challenges and maybe highlights.
Well, 23 was definitely a challenging year with interest rate spikes. And so that's been a challenge. It kept our numbers down considerably over 2022. We were down, 10% or thereabouts in 23 over 22 as a result of those interest rate spikes.
Building starts?
Yes, building starts, new construction, single family home starts. Having said that, the numbers weren't as bad as we expected. Lots of cash deals, lots of folks kind of striking out on trying to purchase an existing home because there's so few existing homes. People are stuck in their 2 or 3% mortgages. They don't want to sell. They don't want to sell their homes and get out of that low interest rate on their mortgages. So that in a weird way has actually buoyed new home construction because people have been forced to look at that as opposed to buying an existing home that they just can't find on the marketplace.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what has been happening in the last few years to that housing inventory circumstance. Do you see any change in this, or are we going to all sit on our hands and wait for the interest rates to close?
No, I see some changes up front, and actually, I would applaud the governor and Speaker Tate, the majority leader in the Senate. They've pushed through some new laws. Have them signed into law that really create some new tools for communities and builders and developers to build more workforce housing across the state, to make the math work, to bring those price points down. Because when you look across the state, the typical home being built, I don't hear too many of my members building anything below like $450,000, right? And if you think about how many Michiganders can afford a home at that price point or higher, it's a very narrow segment of our population. I mean, the median household income is like $67,000 across the state. So to afford a home in the $400,000, actually to afford a home in the $350,000 range, you've got to have a six-figure household income right now with interest rates.
It's interesting you mentioned cash businesses, because there are those out there who have that money available, and maybe it's from selling theirs with the bundle of cash they have, etc. So that can get a housing start going. There's yet another little situation there, and that is supply chain, because homes are not going up as rapidly as they used to.
Yes, it's taking well over a year on average across the state for a home to be built, which you think about that, it normally in the past took a matter of 4, 5, 6 months, maybe max in instances. And now the typical home is well over a year because of some of those supply chain issues, but also workforce issues, getting subcontractors who, getting those roofers, getting those carpenters, getting the plumbers in to do that finished work is taking time.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Just getting material there too. And that's another cost that has gone up. Is your industry able to get the people they need to build the houses that they're building?
I would say no. It's a slow go, particularly in northern parts of the state. They're having to wait weeks and months to get certain tradespeople in to do that work. So that is as much of an issue as building materials and other cost increases that we've seen.
Well, and it's interesting because probably home building, as much as any indicator, is an economic driver. And you can say how the economy is going by the number of new home starts. Do you see any change in 24?
We're forecasting a flat year, or roughly 14,000 single family starts is what we're projecting. And that's actually well below what a state our size needs. Most economists would say we need about 25,000 or more homes a year just to keep up with normal aging of our housing stock and so forth. So we agree with the governor's State of the State address in terms of build, baby, build. That was her line. She says, we have a housing crisis we have to build. Our only concern is that oftentimes in state government, the left hand and the right hand don't know what each other are doing. And her regulatory department has proposed increasing the cost of housing by about $20,000 a house with new code requirements such as sprinklers and so forth. And we're really encouraging the administration to back off of those proposals. Now is not the time during a housing crisis to raise the cost of housing by over $20,000 a house.
You're absolutely right. Well, here's to a better 24. Bob Filka, CEO of the Home Builders Association of Michigan. Thanks for joining us. Keep up the good work, and let's get some boards going up.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Build, baby, build.
There you go. You've been watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman.